Hi everyone, welcome to the session of ECA Electronic Circuit Analysis. In this class, we will learn about frequency and amplitude stability of oscillators. So what is frequency stability? What is amplitude stability of oscillators? So these topics we will cover and some related problems of oscillators. So we will do the problems on oscillators. So in previous session, we have covered crystal oscillator. So what is crystal oscillator? What is the frequency of oscillation? What is the resonant frequency? That is, we have two types of frequency, series resonant frequency and parallel resonant frequency. And what is Pierce crystal oscillator? So these topics we have covered in previous session. Now we will see frequency and amplitude stability of oscillators. So for an oscillator, the frequency of the oscillations must remain constant. For any oscillator, normally we know the oscillations for any circuit can generate at one particular frequency. So that frequency should be constant. That frequency should remain the same. For every oscillator, there is some frequency of oscillation. For RC phase shift, for Wien-Ridge, for Colpitts, for Hartley. So for every oscillator, there is some frequency, and at that frequency, we can get some oscillations or the output. So that frequency should be constant. So the analysis of the dependence of oscillating frequency. That means the oscillating frequency mainly depends on the capacitances like stray capacitance and the temperature. Mainly the frequency or oscillating frequency depends on the stray capacitance like internal capacitance and temperature. So and it's called frequency stability analysis. If you analyze the frequency on various parameters like capacitance and temperature, that analysis is called frequency stability analysis. So mainly for any oscillator, frequency should be constant. Frequency remain constant, and this frequency mainly depends on the stray capacitance and temperature. So what is frequency stability? So frequency stability means the ability of an oscillator to maintain the desired frequency as precisely as possible for a long time. So that is called frequency stability. So the ability of the oscillator to maintain a desired frequency or a constant frequency as long as possible, as long time as possible. So that is called frequency stability of an oscillator. So for a Colpitts oscillator, for a Hartley oscillator, base collector junction is reverse biased, and there exists some internal capacitance. We can also call it as stray capacitance, which is dominant at higher frequencies. So this capacitance affects the value of capacitance in the tank circuit and hence the oscillating frequency. Here we are considering an example. So let us consider a Colpitts oscillator or a Hartley oscillator. So the base collector junction is reverse biased, and there exists some internal capacitance and some stray capacitance. So at higher frequencies, the stray capacitance is dominant. That means it affects the internal capacitance of tank circuit, that is the capacitance of the tank circuit, as well as the oscillating frequency. Because of this internal capacitance, because of the stray capacitance, the frequency may also change. So similarly, the transistor parameters are temperature sensitive. So similarly, if you take some RC phase shift oscillator or Wien-Ridge oscillator, so for any case, we are using some transistor. So that is also a temperature sensitive. That means the parameters in the transistor also temperature sensitive. So as the temperature changes, the oscillating frequency also changes and no longer remains stable. Hence, practically, the circuits cannot provide the stable frequency. So, practically, these circuits cannot provide the stable frequency because of the stray capacitance and because of the temperature variations. Temperature variations and stray capacitance change results in the change in the frequency. So here we are considering some more factors which affects the frequency stability. So that means what are the reasons? to change, that means why the frequency changes, what are the factors which affects the frequency. So you are considering all these factors here. So in general, these are the following factors which affects the frequency of frequency stability of an oscillator. So that means these are the reasons, these are the factors, so which results in the frequency change. Because of these factors, there is a change in the frequency. Okay, so that means the frequency at which we can get some oscillations, those frequencies should be constant, but that frequency changes because of these reasons. First reason is due to the changes in temperature, the values of components in the tank circuit get affected. So because of the temperature variation in the atmosphere, because let us consider the temperature is not constant and the temperature changes, and because of the temperature change, the values or the components in the tank circuit means LC circuit. If you take some Hartley oscillator and Colpitts oscillator, in the feedback network, we have some inductors and capacitors. So the values of the tank circuit or the inductor and capacitance get affected. That means the values may change. So changes in the values of inductors and capacitors due to the change in the temperature is the main cause due to which the frequency does not remain stable. So this is one of the reasons. That means when the temperature changes, the values of inductors and capacitors may also change, and because of this change, the frequency may also change. Because in Hartley oscillator and Colpitts oscillator, frequency is F equal to 1 by 2 pi root LC. L into C equivalent or C into L equivalent. Depends on the oscillator. So that is the fundamental frequency formula, F equal to 1 by 2 pi root LC, where L and C are the inductor and capacitance values. If those values changes, automatically frequency also changes. Okay. So that is one of the reason. And second reason is due to the changes in temperature, the parameters of the active device used like BZT or FET get affected, which in turn affects the frequency. So we have already seen. So that if the temperature changes, automatically the parameters in the active device means like transistors. We can take some BJT or transistor, or we may take some FET transistor. So whatever may be, when the temperature changes, the parameters of the BJT and FET also changes, and that results a change in the frequency. Okay, that is the second reason. And third reason is the variation in the power supply affecting the frequency. So if there is a change in the if there is a change in the power supply means that is the DC voltage. We can also call it as VCC. If the power supply is not constant, if there is a variation in the power supply, then automatically frequency changes. This is the third reason. And fourth reason, the changes in the atmospheric conditions and aging and unstable transistor parameters affect the frequency. So fourth reason is if there is a change in the atmospheric condition, because the atmosphere may change. We can have some rainy season, we can have some fog atmosphere. So because of those changes in the atmospheric conditions, the temperature may also change. In some conditions, temperature may high, in some conditions, temperature may low. That means there is a variation in the temperature. That results automatically change in the frequency. And aging means because of the aging of devices. So if you are using the devices or the components for a longer time, then also we may face some change in the frequency. And unstable transistor parameters. If there is a change, if the transistor parameters are not stable, then automatically frequency changes. That is the fourth reason. And fifth reason is the changes in the load connected affect the effective resistance of the transistor. That means if there is a change in the load resistance means a load. That means the terminal or the output terminal, the load may also change. If there is a change in the load, automatically that affects the tank circuit, and that will give the change in the frequency. And sixth one is the capacitor effect in transistor and stray capacitance affects the capacitance of tank circuit and hence the frequency. So already we have said that So if there is a change in the stray capacitance means internal capacitance. There is some internal capacitance for the circuit, and if that internal capacitance changes, and that will affect the tank circuit capacitance. That means because of this stray capacitance, tank circuit value changes, total capacitance value changes, and automatically frequency also changes. So these are all the reasons and factors which affects the frequency stability. Because of these reasons, the frequency is not stable. Okay, so how much the frequency change we can get? So that is the variation of frequency with temperature is given by the factor that is denoted as S. So here this formula represents the change in the frequency with respect to temperature. So that means if some change in the temperature, then what is the change in the frequency? That related data is given by this formula. So that is S omega T is equal to del omega by omega R by del T by TR. Units are parts per million per degree centigrade. PPC, parts per million per degree centigrade. Okay, or ppmc. So this is the shortcut. So these are the units for the frequency variation. So here omega R is the desired frequency, TR is the operating temperature, and if there is a temperature change, this is represented as del T, and there is also change in the frequency, that is represented as del omega. Del omega is change in frequency, del T is change in temperature. And what is the frequency stability? So here we have the formula to find out the frequency stability. So that is S omega is equal to d theta by d omega, where d theta is phase shift introduced for small frequency change in desired frequency Fr. So if it is high, that is d theta by d omega is high, then this value S omega is also high. That means we can get some higher frequency stability. So in order to get the higher frequency stability, this value should be high. D theta by d omega should be high. So that is about the frequency stability of oscillators. So these are the reasons of frequency change in the oscillator. So we may take some precautions in order to get some frequency stability. And next one is amplitude stability. So in order to start the oscillation, the loop gain is usually slightly greater than unity. What is meant by loop gain? Loop gain means it is the product of A and beta, where A is the basic amplifier gain, beta is the feedback network gain. So that is called loop gain. So for every oscillator at the starting position, usually the loop gain, that is the product of A beta, usually slightly greater than unity. So that is A beta is greater than 1 usually at the starting point. That is, in order to start the oscillations, the loop gain is usually greater than unity. Okay, so but here the amplitude should be constant. That is, the gain of basic amplifier A and the gain of feedback network, that is beta, should be constant. If there is a change in the gains, that is, if there is a change in the A value, if there is a change in the beta value, when there is a change in A and beta values, if there is a change in the amplitude, if there is some change occurs in the amplitude, then automatically A and beta values also changes and loop gain also changes. That means we cannot get some constant loop gain. So in order to get the constant loop gain value, or in order to get the amplitude stability, so here we are having some, that means we may take some precautions. So here LC oscillators in general do not require amplitude stabilization circuits because of the selectivity of the LC circuits. Normally, LC oscillators means if you consider Hartley oscillator or Colpitts oscillator. So in those oscillators, we are using some inductors and capacitors in the feedback network. So those oscillators are called LC oscillators. Generally, these oscillators do not require amplitude stabilization circuits because of the selectivity of the LC circuit. Because of the selectivity of LC circuits, we cannot take any precautions, or we do not require any precautions or any amplitude stabilization methods for LC oscillator. Whereas in RC oscillator means the oscillators which uses some resistors and capacitors in the circuit. If you take some RC phase shift oscillator, if you take some Wien bridge oscillator, those oscillators uses some resistors and capacitors in the feedback network. So in those type of oscillators, there is some nonlinear device. That means we can get some change in the amplitude stability. That means there is instability in the amplitude. Amplitude may change from point to point. Okay. So in this case, that is in RC oscillators, we are taking some NTC, PTC resistors, and FET or Zener diodes can be used to stabilize the amplitude. So in these oscillators, we are using these devices to maintain some amplitude stability. Whereas in our LC oscillators, there is no need to provide any amplitude stability for the LC oscillators because of the selectivity of LC oscillators. Okay. So that is about amplitude stability. Amplitude stability means the stability, that means the loop gain must be stable. That is A and beta products must be constant. So if there is a change, then we can use these devices in the RC oscillators. And LC oscillators, there is no need to provide any amplitude stability. Okay. So let us do some problems on the oscillators. So we know the formulas, we know the frequency of oscillation. That means at what frequency we can get some oscillations. For every oscillator, we have derived the related data, related frequencies, related gains for each and every oscillator. So we are using those formulas in order to do these problems. So first problem is, so I think it is completed. Okay. So first problem is the frequency. So the frequency sensitive arms of the Wien bridge oscillator uses C1, C2 is equal to 0.001 microfarad and R1 is 10 kilo ohm, while R2 is kept variable. So the frequency is to be varied from 20 kHz to 70 kHz by varying R2. Find the minimum and maximum values of R2. So here the given data is, so here first one, the oscillator is Wien bridge oscillator and it uses the capacitance values, that is C1 and C2 like 0.001 microfarad and R1 is 10 kilo ohm and R2 is not given and it is a variable resistor. So that means it is varied depending on the frequency. So here the frequency is varied from 20 kHz to 70 kHz. Frequency varied from 20K to 70K. Then what is the value of R? We should find out the R2 value, minimum and maximum values. Okay. So that is the problem. So first we know the frequency. So depending on the data given, we should use the formula. So here the data is, we have some capacitance, resistance R1 and frequency. So we can use the formula, that is frequency of oscillation. What is the frequency of oscillation for the Wien bridge oscillator? F equal to 1 by 2 pi square root of R1, R2, C1, C2. So if R1 equal to R2 equal to R, if you take same resistances, and C1 equal to C2 equal to C, if you take same capacitances, then the formula becomes 1 by 2 pi RC. That is the second case. But here R1, R2 are not same. See, so that's why we are using this formula. So F equal to 1 by 2 pi square root of R1, R2, C1, C2. First, the frequency is 20 kHz. Let us find the value of R2 at this frequency, first frequency. That is the minimum resistance R. So F equal to 20 kHz. And we know all the remaining data, and that is 2 pi into 1 by square root of, we know R1 value, we know C1 value, we know C2 value. So let us substitute all these values. That is F equal to 20 kHz, that is 20 into 10 is equal to 1 by 2 pi square root of R1 is 10 kilo ohm, that is 10 into 10 cube, into R2, we should find out the value, into C1 and C2. C1 and C2 means 0.001 into 10 power minus 6. C1 and C2, that is whole square. So if you simplify the equation, then R2 is equal to 6.33 kilo ohms. This is the minimum value. At what frequency? At F equal to 20 kilo. And let us find the maximum value also. So at what frequency? 70 kHz. Here the frequency varies between these two values. So let us take second value, that is F equal to 70 kHz. So at F equal to 70 kHz, what is the resistance. So let us substitute F is 70 grades. The remaining data all are same. So that is 1 by 2 pi square root of 10 into 10 cube into R2 into 0.001 into 10 power minus 6 whole square. So if you simplify the equation, then R2 is equal to 0.516 kilo ohms. So this is the minimum value of R2 and this is the maximum value of R2. It is the resistance when frequency is 20 kilohertz. It is the resistance when frequency is 70 kilohertz. Okay. So that is first problem. Second problem. So second problem is here we are taking Hartley oscillator. Okay. So Hartley oscillator means it uses some inductance and capacitance in the circuit. Okay. So 1 minute. So problem is in a Hartley oscillator, L1 equal to 15 millihenry and C is 50 picofarad. Calculate L2 for a frequency of 160 kilohertz. The mutual inductance between L1 and L2 is 5 microhenry. Also find the required gain of transistor to be used for the oscillations. So here our oscillator is Hartley oscillator and the given data is here L1 inductor is 50 millihenry and C is 50 picofarad. And we have one more inductance in the Hartley oscillator, that is L2. So we should find out that value, that is L2 value at what frequency? At frequency of 168 kHz. And it is given that mutual inductance between L1 and L2 is 5 microhenry. That is M value also given. So also find the required gain of transistor. Also find the required gain of transistor to be used for the oscillation. So this is the problem. And for the Hartley oscillator, by using the given data, we are using the formula that is F equal to 1 by 2 pi root L equivalent into C. This is the frequency of oscillation. We have already derived this frequency of oscillation for the Hartley oscillator. So here L equivalent is equivalent inductance, that is L1 plus L2 plus 2M. Okay. So F is equal to, already we know F value, 168 kHz, 168 into 10 is equal to 1 by square root of L equivalent into C. Okay, that is 1 by 2 pi square root of L equivalent. What is C? C is 50 picofarad. That is 50 into 10 power minus 12. So already that is L equivalent. L equivalent means we know the formula L1 plus L2 plus 2M. So what is L1 here? 15 millihenry. 15 millihenry, that is 15 is 10 power minus 3 plus L2, we should find out the value, plus M. M is 5 microhenry, that is 5 into 10 power minus 6. And we know the value of L equivalent from this equation. In order to find out the L2 value, we should know L equivalent L1 plus 2M. So from this equation, from the frequency of oscillation, we are finding L equivalent value, that is 17.95 millihenry. Okay, so substitute that value. So this is L equivalent is equal to L1 plus L2 plus 2M. Okay, so LD is 2.945 millihenry. If you simplify the equation, this is the L2 value. Another index. This is first problem, that is first part in this problem. And in the second part, also find the required gain of the transistor. So we should also find out the gain. So here the gain is gain means HFE. Already we derived the formula for HFE. What is HFE? HFE is equal to L1 plus M by L2 plus M for the Hartley oscillator. We know the formula. So here the gain is HFE, that is equal to, we know L1, L2 and M values. L1 is 15, that is 15 millihenry, that is 15 to 10 power minus 3 plus M is 5 microhenry, 5 into 10 power minus 6, 5. What is L2? L2 is 2.9 millihenry, that is 2.9 10 power minus 3 plus M, that is 5 in 10 power minus 6. So that is equal to gain is 5.0. This is gain value. This is second problem. And third problem, Colbit's oscillator. So here the Colbit's oscillator using some PET transistor and the frequency of oscillations is observed to be 2.5 MHz. So at this frequency, at 2.5 megahertz, we can get some oscillation. That is the frequency of oscillation. An oscillator uses inductor, that is L equal to 10 microhenry, and C1 equal to 0.02 microfarad. This is the given data. And first bit is find the value of C. Second bit is if L is doubled, if inductor is doubled, then what is the new frequency? Here we should find out these two values. So for the Colpitts oscillator, we know the formula, that is frequency of oscillation, F equal to 1 by 2 pi root L into C equivalent. So here the difference between Hartley and Colpitts is, for the Hartley oscillator, L is L equivalent, that is L1 plus L2 plus 2M. Okay, L is L equivalent. Whereas in Colpitts oscillator, C is C equivalent. C equivalent means C1 C2 by C1 plus C. So we should remember the formula. So here F is, 2.5 megahertz, that is 2.5 in 10 power 6 is equal to 1 by 2 pi square root of L is 10 microhenry, that is 10 into 10 power minus 6 into C equivalent. We should, that is from this formula, C equivalent becomes 405.2 picofarad. Okay, but here we should find out the value of C2. How we can get this value? From the C equivalent, because C equivalent is equal to C1 C2 by C1 plus C2. In order to find out C2 value, we should know the value of C equivalent. So that's why we are finding C equivalent first from this frequency, from this formula. Okay, substitute C equivalent value, that is 405.2 into 10 power minus 12 is equal to C1 value already know, we know, so that is 0.02 into 10 power minus 6 into C2 by 0.02 into 10 power minus 6%. So if you simplify the equation, C2 is equal to 0.41 nanofarad. Okay, so that is C2 value. And what is second bit? Second bit is if L is doubled, L is inductor. If L value is doubled, then what is the frequency? So here, what is initial L value? Initial L value is 10 microhenry. If it is doubled means, that is, it becomes 2, that is 2 into 10, 20 microhenry. L equal to 2 into 10, that is 20 microhenry. And C equivalent is same, and find the new frequency. That is F equal to 1 by 2 pi root L into C equivalent formula. So here 1 by 2 pi, L is this value, new value, 20 microhenry, and C equivalent is 405.2 picofarad. So this is the new free inductor, and at this new inductor, we can get the frequency, new frequency, that is equal to 1.7 megahertz. This is the new frequency. Okay. So this is about Colpitts oscillation. Okay. And next one is crystal oscillator. So here we are taking some quartz crystal, and it has some L value, that is 3 Henry. CS is 0.05 picofarad. That is capacitance, and R is 2000 ohms, and CM is 10 picofarad, that is mounting capacitor. Calculate the series and parallel resonant frequencies. We know the formulas for series and parallel resonant frequencies, Fs and Fp. So here the given data is L equal to 3 Henry, CS and C both are same. So CS is equal to 0.05 picofarad is series capacitor, and R equal to 2000 ohms, and mounting capacitor CM is 10 picofarad. First bit is calculate the series resonant frequency, that is Fs value. So what is Fs? Fs is 1 by 2 pi root Lc. We know the formula. 1 by 2 pi, we know L value 3 Henry into, that is 3 into C value. C is 0.05 picofarad, that is 0.05 in 10 power minus 2. So if you substitute the values, then the series resonant frequency Fs becomes 410.9 in 410.9 kilohertz. This is Fs value. Next, second one is parallel resonant frequency. So what is the formula for parallel resonant frequency? Fp is equal to 1 by 2 pi root L into C equivalent. Root L into C equivalent. We know L value, but what is C equivalent? For the crystal oscillator, C equivalent is Cm into C by Cm plus C. Cm into C by Cm plus C. Cm is 10 picofarad, that is 10 into 10 power minus 12. What is C? C and Cs are both same. Both are same. So that is 0.05 in 10 power minus 12 by 10 into 10 power minus 12 plus 0.05 in 10 power minus 12. If you simplify the equation, C equivalent is 4.9 in 10 power minus 14 farad. Substitute this value in this equation. Then that is Fp is equal to 411.9 kilohertz. This is the parallel resonant frequency, and this is the series resonant frequency. For the series resonant frequency, formula is 1 by 2 pi root LC. For the parallel resonant frequency, formula is 1 by 2 pi root L into C equivalent. For the crystal oscillator, C equivalent is Cm into C by Cm plus C. Just remember the formula to do all the problems. Okay. So thank you.